Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to a very special edition of Comics in the Making. Why is it special? For two reasons. One, it's my birthday. It's the birthday edition of Comics in the Making. It's not really my birthday. Tomorrow is. But when you're a grown up, if your birthday falls not on a weekend, who cares? But the real reason this is a special edition is I've got a guest today. Hopefully, will not just be a guest, but someone you'll be seeing a lot of. But the creator of Slackmatic and many more comics, Ryan Holgersen. How you doing?
Doing good, man.
Awesome. Uh, just real quick in a nutshell, just what are you working on at the moment?
So right now I'm doing these kind of horror slash humor strips. I'm doing them in black and white, which was an attempt to do them quicker, and that has failed miserably. Because I've been putting a ton of detail and stuff into them. I've been looking at a whole lot of manga and especially like horror manga, like Junji Ito, of course. But then I've been looking at some other stuff oh, what is his name? Shitaro Kago does a lot of really weird like body horror stuff. And anyway, I've been looking at a lot of that stuff, and so every strip's kind of a there might be a little bit of humor, there might be a little bit of horror, but it's been a lot of fun. It's a little different from what I've done in the past, so
Yeah, and
that's been my main focus.
awesome. And I've been keeping track of what you've been sharing on social media, and we'll make sure to give all that a shout out and a link and down there in the below thing. And isn't this
Sweet.
fun? We're cartoonists and that's what we want to do, but here we are, we got to do videos and stuff and,
Right.
and do that whole thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's all part of being a online creator right now. You can't just do the thing, you've got to promote and stuff like that, so
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. And publisher, which is something that you've done. How
Yeah.
many books have you put out in the world?
I don't know. I'm probably well over 50.
Nice.
Um, that being said, I mean, I'm 43 now. I started self-publishing when I was 18. Well, probably 17. Um, so yeah, I've got to be well over 50. I stopped counting. I've
Yeah,
got them in a drawer somewhere.
nice. Now, if you add your online only content, what are we talking in time in terms of your whole body of work?
Oh, Lord. I don't know. Let's see. Probably a couple thousand pages,
Wow, nice.
maybe. Probably pretty close. So I've got an album on my phone, and I'm at like over 600 on that. And that's like the last 10 years. Um, but that's not everything. So I've got some other stuff that I don't have in that album. So I know that's not even accurate. And then that's not counting things like Page of Things, which was a project I did, which is kind of comic adjacent. And there's like 140 of those. Um, so yeah, lots of comics.
That's outstanding. It's something that, I think any cartoonist uh could aspire to, is just that level of dedication to the process, to the creation of what you love. And
Right.
that's a huge achievement just on its own merits.
No, I
uh
appreciate it. I still feel really lazy. Um,
I
yeah.
I think everyone feels that. I think I feel it's Sunday. My afternoon once we wrap up this is it's probably going to kind of be set, and I don't think I'll get back around to the drawing table.
Yeah, I probably won't either.
And I think, man, I wasted a weekend. I got most of a page done. I wasted a weekend.
Right.
And that's the mindset. We always I think I don't know if it's just setting a goal up here so that what you really need is here and you can get this, or just the desire to keep pushing that pen or that stylus, whatever whatever your tool is across that medium and making more creations happen.
Right. Well, and I think that needs to be, I mean, that's what keeps you going, right? I mean, if you did the perfect 10-page comic in your opinion, and that's where you stopped, like that's not really what we are. You know what I mean? And this quote unquote career or lifestyle or whatever, it's a marathon. It's not a race. So, for example, I one of the strips I did last week got a whole lot of love on Reddit, which was great. Um, 80 some thousand views, several thousand upvotes and stuff like that. It was great. The next one, like 30, and so for me, that's what keeps me going. It's almost like a drug. It's like I got that dopamine from that last trip, and then I put the next one out, and it's dog shit. And so I got to keep going. you know um but man, you got to take breaks too. I mean, you can't keep yourself chained to the drawing table or Cintiq or whatever all the time.
No, yeah, yeah. It's I guess everyone says, it's all about balance and whatever.
Yeah.
That's it's kind of corn dog to say that kind of thing, but at the same time, no, you've got to work in, especially, I mean, speaking for myself, I'm doing the daily grind uh for up to 10 or more hours a day.
Right.
I get back here and there's the wife, hey honey, hey kid, hey other kid, how was your day? What did you do? Oh, great. You know where to find daddy for the next 5 hours,
Right.
you know? So
Yeah.
um but they're real good about it, and they in their own ways appreciate the medium and understand what I'm doing. So
Right.
they're always welcome to come out and hang out. I've been trying to get that 16-year-old to do my gray tones, but she's too busy.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure what she's doing.
Right. Yeah. Well, the office that I'm in right now, you can't really see it, and I want to show you because it's a disaster in here. But we've got kind of tables lining around here, and so my daughter's got, like, actually behind me, that's like her art space area where she does witchcraft. I don't know. And so when I'm working right here in this area, sometimes she'll come in and spend time and stuff like that. And we've got guitars, we'll play guitars and stuff like that together too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I at least try and have a spot where it's like, you can come in and we've got TV, we can watch YouTube or whatever. And I think my wife's pretty good at if I get a little too obsessed with something, going, I need you to pull back a little bit. So
Yeah. Yeah. And
I'll do that. I'll do that with comics, with music, with whatever. I get a little obsessed sometimes.
yeah, yeah. And there's some of that here as well, and there's different ways of communicating the needs.
Right.
But the message is received, and
Yeah.
you're able to circle back and kind of handle some of the things that you might be letting slip to the wayside anyways.
Right.
So, but it's I really appreciate that, you know, um, kind of everyone getting the groove and understanding what, we're all trying to do.
Hmm.
My younger daughter likes to sew. She's got a little sewing machine and she likes to make clothes and things. And she actually was set up sort of behind me, and then finally she moved out. She went to a room upstairs, and she's just like, no, dad, I need my space.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was kind of weird, but good for her. She needs to get in her zone wherever that is.
Uh, well, she's almost a teenager, right?
Yep, yep.
Yeah. I mean, I've got one of those. I know
Oh,
you've got one too.
uh,
We went to we saw Weezer last night in
oh,
Charlotte.
nice.
It was a great show. Had a fun time. It was just me and my daughter. Had a blast. Get home, straight to her room, you know. Like, she's done.
Well, last weekend it was kind of like that for me. And,
Yeah.
and the girls were with me Una was with me the whole weekend. Um, and then Saturday and Sunday, I had the other one. And then getting home, it was a very much a lot of everyone spreading out to their, own spot. I've been talking to people, you know how it is. And this
Yeah.
will get us talking about cons a little bit.
Hmm.
But talking to people all day, I just don't want voices for a while.
Right.
So it kind of, I think we all kind of self isolated a little bit after all that activity and all the people. But yeah, we've done some shows together.
Right.
But you've been doing shows a lot longer than I have.
Hmm.
But let me just throw it to you. I mean, conventions, man.
I'm gonna try and not sound like a pessimistic curmudgeon with this. um uh, so conventions. I'll say when I first started doing conventions back in uh 98, I think is when I did my first one. And I'm trying to think. That would have been, I think SBX was the first one I actually set up at. But anyway, back then I think you would get a lot of people coming to shows that were looking for new stuff. And it was possible to set up as a unknown artist and actually have some sales and get some stuff out there. I feel like now they become such pop culture shows. I don't know if it's worth most artists to set up there. Um they're still fun. I just don't know if the benefits there
Mhm.
as far as like what you're investing, you know. Um Now where I have had a lot of success for shows lately would be like smaller zine fests and little art shows like that. And I think you tend to stick out a little bit more um than at a big pop culture show. Um I mean, last year, I know I talked to you before about it, but last year I did Fluke in Athens,
Yeah, yeah.
and by far the best sales I've had in years at a show, you know. Um, just, I mean, I wouldn't say mind blowing, but like I made in sales, like I covered my travel, I covered my meals, I actually made a little bit of money, you know. You know, uh, and uh, the bigger difference would be, I did Heroes last year. I had a blast, so much fun. Pretty much paid for parking every day with my sales.
Yeah, I
So
can relate to those numbers
yeah,
for the most part. If I want to do some fastball accounting, I can say everything I've done this year was to the goal of doing heroes.
hmm,
And so I'm probably just about $100 in the hole,
right,
and a lot more people know about what I'm
hmm,
doing.
yeah,
So that's cool. It's almost like music.
right,
And because we both play in bands and understand
yeah,
that. If you can travel and cover your travel and expenses, uh, you're in pretty good shape as a band. And I think that's echoed with the comic book thing.
right,
And but the caveat to that is, with the comics, I'll probably do a show like Heroes again next year.
yeah.
But if it's the same result, then I'm gonna have to really think carefully about how I'm going to, uh, if I'm going to go that route, or try to concentrate on some different avenues.
Well, and I think that's the thing, though. It's like conventions have a real gambler mentality, at least for me, because I did Fluke and I did So Great. So what I signed up for like 3 other shows that year. I did Asheville Zine Fest that year. We did that library thing.
Yep.
And I did Heroes, and I had a blast at all of them. I don't regret any of them. But that was really all based off of that great show I had in Athens. And so it really is kind of this gambler mentality where you're like, I'm going to hit again. I'm going to hit again. And then you don't, you know.
Yeah.
And I guess where I'd be coming from would just be for like newer self-publishers, newer cartoonists. Don't necessarily jump into that convention game. Be smart about it, because in the end, you are running a business. And so it's okay. I think, we're all artists, so we don't want to think about that. But it's okay. It's okay to look at like, well, how much did it cost me to print these books? How much did it cost me to get this table? How much is gas going to cost? How much is parking going to be? And, is it going to be worth me doing that, opposed to putting your work online and getting it into the front of a bunch of more eyeballs,
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah.
I know you've been selling on Etsy and stuff like that, but I've at least gotten to the point on my shop when I put a new book up, I know I'm going to get sales. And I never had that before, and that took time. It's just like, it's a marathon,
Yep.
It wasn't always like that. But now I know, hey, if I put a new book and I put it up on Etsy, I know I'm at least going to get X amount of sales. And you can hardly ever say that at a convention,
Right. And the area that I had was pretty darn good. It was good. And
not by the bathroom.
Not by the bathroom. Close to concessions. I could see Jim Ruggs back,
Oh yeah.
the whole show. And then some of some of Piscor, like I could see his hat if he leaned over, so not a terrible. And all the like the Charlotte like heavies were just a couple down on the other side facing the wall. So
right.
it was a pretty good concentration of creators.
Yeah.
But I feel like my block, I think it was a rough weekend for all of them. Some of them were coming from Georgia, some of them were coming from Pittsburgh. One next to me was Raleigh. I think they had 2 tables and lots of stand-ups. They had lots of comics. And but I feel like it was kind of a rough, for smaller creators. I think the vibe was just different. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was different from the last time we did together. It was different from the prior Heroes Cons I've been to, just as a fan. It just I can't put my finger on what was different about it, because a lot of the same creators. There's one creator, his name is Drew Moss, and in 2012 I bought an awesome print from him, and we talked Friday morning during setup, and for a long time he remembered me, and then when I brought Una to say, because I brought that for him to sign on Saturday, and we talked about music, so I gave him a No Anger Control CD.
Hell yeah.
And just shooting, just kicking it. And then he looks over at Una and he goes, and Una would have been 8 years old. I think 8 years old, maybe 6. No, maybe 6. Anyways, he looks at her. He says, "You were dressed as a Little Mermaid last time I saw you." And even I didn't know that. But I remembered, yes, she was. Come to think of it, so a lot of fun, a lot of talking to people, good conversations with creators and all that. But something, not saying it wasn't pleasant at all. It was a great experience, but there was just something that wasn't there, and it could be a me thing.
No, I don't think so. I think it's a different crowd now. Like I said, they're more pop culture conventions, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of fun going to quote unquote pop culture conventions as a guest. Because they just have everything. And I like lots of stuff. I don't just like comics, I love movies, I love TV, but it just doesn't have that crowd that's looking for the new thing. They're going there to look for what they know. They know the Marvel movies, they know the DC universe, they know Star Wars, so they're going to look for that kind of stuff, and I think you'll see what I notice at a lot of shows like that is the people that sell like fan art prints and stuff like that, they'll sell a shit ton. And no offense to those people, that's not me. I create my own stuff, and I good on them for being able to go there and do something like that. But
that might be the thing. That might be what's different, because I don't recall seeing so many of those types of creators
yeah,
from those earlier conventions, from 10 years ago, whatever. And now there's probably as many as there are comic book creators. And
yeah,
not saying these people aren't creating comics on the side or whatever, but that's not what they're pushing. They're pushing
no,
they're clever, and a lot of the work is great, and
yeah,
we got some of the stuff because it's really cool and fun, but it you're right. I think you've got that kind of stuff, and there was a lot of craft stuff going
yeah.
on. You
Uh,
do want to mix. I think
that's
you
it.
want to mix something
This
for
is
everyone.
this is this is just me spitballing, but I'm just gonna say, in the age of AI art.
Oh god.
Yeah, I know. No,
hang,
I know.
hang on.
I'm gonna get us canceled our first episode. All right. So in the age of AI art, though, these people that are doing these fan art and print, that sort of stuff, they can't do what me and you do. And maybe they can, but I don't see it at their table. I see, oh, that's a great picture of Wolverine. Oh, that's a great picture of Deadpool. Well, now with AI, well, AI can fucking do that.
Mm-hmm.
No problem. But AI can't do what we do,
No.
because we are creating our own stuff. We own our own stuff. We publish our own stuff. Um, I mean, in theory, could AI make one of those horror strips that I'm doing? Sure, but it wouldn't be me, you know.
No.
And I think that's a big that's a huge difference. I see. I mean, I see the stuff that I do and the stuff that you do, and most self publishers. I think we're AI proof, um, because we're doing our own thing, But if you're an artist and all you do is draw pretty pictures of Captain America and shit like that, and you're a commercial artist, I mean, yeah, you're fucked.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but
Yeah, because there, is such an incentive, I feel, for corporations to generate.
yeah,
I mean, the whole name of the game on that is to, maximize profits,
yeah,
by any means necessary. And you can't just make what you made last year. You've got to
no,
you make more for the
no.
investor's sake. So,
and
you know,
and I hate. Trust me, I have not seen a piece of AI art that I go, oh, that has a soul. I haven't seen it yet.
yeah. And if when I get
Um,
art from somebody, whether it be something just a pinup,
yeah,
print, or a comic, that's a part of the creator. That I get stuff from you. That's a part of you that
right,
I'm getting, and that I have no interest in getting something that's just generated, because
right,
eventually I'll be able to generate it myself if I want.
right,
If I want a pinup of Wolverine and Snake Eyes, going at it, I
right,
mean, I could draw it myself,
yeah,
but if I couldn't draw, the technology is going to allow me to just do it myself. Why do I need to go to anywhere?
right, right. And I think what I would want. I mean, I don't know if you heard. I'm sure you heard, but the title sequence for the new Marvel show was AI created. That whatever Secret Invasion or whatever,
Yeah, yeah.
Samuel L. Jackson. And so a lot of people were up in arms about it being AI created. And I saw an article, and the title for the article was "Artists Upset About AI." Um, I think that kind of says it all, though. Artists upset about AI.
Yeah.
I hate to tell you, the overwhelming majority of the public are not artists, and they're not going to care.
No, yeah.
They could give two shits if it was AI or not. So, I mean, that's why we're kind of like, these people that are doing these pinups and stuff like that. Oh my God, do your own thing. Do something that is AI proof that
Hmm.
only you do,
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
because you know, AI is it's gonna take commercial artist jobs. It's just it's gonna do it. Um, and it's sad, but it's gonna happen. And I hate to tell you, there's not a lot of people crying about engravers right now. That I mean that's I don't think people are understanding that there are all these lost forms of art,
Hmm.
and that's all based on technology. You know, um, and so that's just the direction it's going. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and that's it's kind of cool that we've kind of taken this turn, uh, you know, looking at tackling just convention experience, and then um, but that is so much of it, and I'm not saying that I saw any AI generated art at the last convention, but I think the direction, the I don't know if I want to use the word industry, but art, like you say, is just kind of being pushed by the wind.
Mm-hmm.
I that maybe that's what I was feeling at this Heroes Con. There's just something else in the wind that
Yeah.
just gave it a different vibe. But still,
Well, there was that whole hashtag comics broke me going on too. I don't know if you read any of that on Twitter.
no, I missed that. I missed that.
Um, well, it was sparked by oh God, I hope I don't get his name wrong. Ian McGarity, I believe. He passed away a few weeks ago. He was an artist he had done some Invader Zim comics. I think he'd actually worked on the show maybe a little bit. He did some Adventure Time.
Oh, yes, 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 exactly.
Yeah, and he was a young guy. I mean, like 38, 39.
Right, right. Way too young.
Yeah. And but it spurred this whole hashtag on Twitter called Comics Broke Me, and it was just story after story of cartoonists being uh screwed over by publishers, and
Yeah.
and it was sad, so I don't know, maybe some of that bled into it. um you know I there were some stories on there that I definitely was very sympathetic to, and then there were some stories where I was like, we have 100 years of history of the comic industry screwing us over.
Right, right. And you know,
um
interestingly enough, to kind of parallel that, one of the more recent episodes of Cartoonist Kayfabe is titled
right.
"Publishers are not your friends,"
What do
and,
you no
Piscor goes in depth about
no well, what
exactly those situations.
so I mean, I've had, on a much smaller scale, I've had that same experience. And luckily he had that retailer um that was super nice and was like, hey, I've got this whole pallet of books.
Yeah, yeah.
But I, for a brief amount of time, I had a very small publisher, and this guy he wasn't making any money, so I'm not going to say like, oh, he was taking all the cash. It was a very small publishing group, but we were set up at a table. um me and a buddy were sitting right next to each other. We were both published by him, and he was about 5 tables down, and we're selling our books at our table that he published, like our comps and stuff like that. Well, we're selling them at cover price, and all of a sudden we're signing our books left and right,
Yeah.
and we're like, what the hell is going on here? And so I asked one of the people that came by to get my signature. I go, well, Man, I'm selling the book too. Like you could have bought it from me. And he's like, oh no, man, he's selling them for $1 down there.
Oh no.
So he had his creators there. And the thing was, he was getting out of the business. Believe it or not, there's no money in comics. And so he was getting out of I think he was just trying to get rid of his stock.
Dude.
But man, what a fucking,
Yeah, yeah.
like your people are there.
I don't know if it was the same situation, but directly across from me was a creator, and he's had his books, and then around the corner, down two tables, was his publisher with
Yeah.
the same books. But I don't know, and
Right.
I talked to both of them at length throughout the weekend, and I doubt there was any of that shenanigans going on at all.
God, I would hope not.
They were in contact, and they seemed like they had a really good relationship. So
Yeah.
but yeah, I did notice that, like, well, crap, he's got him. Who do I buy him from?
Right.
Ideally, I'd buy him from the artist.
Artist. Yeah.
Ryan, I got to tell you, I just got the notification. We got about 5 minutes left here on this
Okay.
Zoom. It's 40 minutes is ticking away. We can talk for a long time. Hopefully,
Yeah.
hopefully you'll come back and we'll do this more.
We can do it next week, man.
Who knows? We may have to redo this whole episode because I don't know how the levels are going. I think, judging by the LED, I think the mic's picking. I think the computer is shooting sound out of its speakers.
Uh-huh.
I think the mic is picking it up.
Okay.
So we may have to redo that. I don't know.
Hey, whatever.
But maybe I overdid it with technology. I should have just kept it to the thing. But with you coming in, I wanted to make this as good as possible. So
We'll figure it out.
Yes, sir. But yeah, thanks for hanging out today.
Yeah.
And it's always a pleasure hanging out with you,
For sure.
in person or not, and seeing your stuff. I will absolutely put your links in the description down below. You got to go over, check out Slackmatic. And what's the name of the new project? Is it still Slackmatic, the new project, or is it?
So I haven't announced it yet. Right now, I think I'm gonna call it Nightmare Fool. So kind of a play on Nightmare Fuel.
Yeah.
So, but it's very Slackmatic adjacent. I mean, it's got my avatar as the main character and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and every strip is its own thing. So, you can read one and never read it again, or read all of them, and it doesn't matter.
Nice. Well, cool, man. Once again, pleasure's all mine. Thanks for hanging out with us, and make more comics. Keep making comics. I don't have a tagline, but just stay well, man. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, man. Have a good one.
See you later.